Hello and welcome to Bricolage with Pink Girly. This is Pink Girly and this is my channel. And a little while ago I had done a live and I also did a video where I showed how I make my envelope pocket storage journals. And I use these. I have quite a few that I use. I just love them. So here's one that I have in use. I have a lot of ephemera in this one. And you can see I just use those, they're not really a manila color, but those bigger envelopes, that you can send like I don't know, like a 9 by 12 piece of paper in them. So I've got that one. I've got one with my stencils in it. And see, what I like to do is I like to color the envelope itself. These I jelly printed and then I did some stamping, and then if I get something as I'm working on a project that I like, I'll just stick it in, to just help decorate the sides. I don't know, I just think they're fun and they're very versatile and useful. And so this is one that I made that I personally use, and then on the video I showed how I put them together. And so here are a few other ones. And I think it was on the video I promised that when I cut off the bottom of the envelope, that I had an idea, and I said I was going to do a video and show you what you can do with these. So that's what this video today is all about. I'm going to use my leftovers, the bottoms of my envelopes from my envelope storage journals. As artisans and crafters, sometimes you have little pieces and little bits of something left over. Like say you're making an envelope and you're using your envelope puncher and you get those little bits that are left over. Well, I haven't come up with anything for them yet, but sometimes we have these little bits left over from a project, and you sit and you look at them and you think, what could I do with that? For some of us, it's just hard to throw it away. And so I was looking at these because I had so many, and an idea came to me. And this is what I made. I put it in this little journal. I made this little decoration, bookmark, clip, whatever you want to call it, for a journal page out of the bottom of my envelopes. Now I had another one that I put together, and for the life of me I can't find it. So that's what I'm going to show you today, what you might think about doing with the bottoms of your envelope. Now during the video, I think I made it pretty clear that to decorate all the way to the bottom of the envelope if you're going to make an envelope storage journal, for two reasons, really. One, because I knew I cut off the bottom and I was going to do something with them, and they're already pre-decorated on the one side, right? And the other is because you never know where you might want to cut the bottom off so you can make that pocket. See, so really what you have here is, this is the top of your envelope, and this is, like, this is not the same envelope because this envelope is back here, right? You get me? That's the envelope. But I trimmed off the bottom so this could be a pocket. See? So this is the part that I want to use. And if you can just throw that away, oh my gosh, go for it. But if you can't, this is something you can do with it. So when I started to look at it a little more closely, I thought, ooh, what if I started thinking like origami kind of things? What if I just pushed this? Now I'm trying to line it up with that bottom crease because I'm a tad bit anal. And I just pushed it and then started to think, that might look good over the top of a journal page. Now it's hard to see that crease. And you don't have to be as fiddly as I am. But see, with doing a video, I want to make sure it looks really good. Now, a couple of things. I have been folding in this extra little bit that the envelope wasn't glued down right. But you can cut that off too. You can just trim it. Right? Whatever you decide to do, I would do the same on both ends. I just thought of something I was going to do before my video started that I didn't do. Let's see, now I tore that. See, I've got an extra bit here where I didn't trim it close to the edge. There's a little edge there. So I'm just going to shore that up, trim all this extra stuff off. And then I decided that, you know, inside could be a little secret compartment place to maybe journal. And then I just fold it in half. And you can do whatever. You could probably fold it not in half. Let's do another one. Now these were already stained and colored because I was treating my envelopes and jelly printing my envelopes for my journal. And I purposely threw the coffee stain or the watercolor, whatever I was using, all the way to the bottom of the envelope. Now see on this one, let me show you how I glue it. I just bend that little flap over. These, the envelopes you use may not be like this, but all these envelopes that I used have this little portion that for whatever reason didn't get glued down. So I'm just gluing that down to make my point. Now these already have been stamped. Now see on this, I just have this little extra bit of paper. Now on one that I did before this video, I had some coffee mixed up and had it sitting here at my work desk. I don't have any of that today. So you could say use your oh, it's not folding very nicely there. You could use your oxides or your inks. You could paint the inside if that bothers you. You could leave it alone if it doesn't bother you. Now I've got that extra little bit that I didn't trim off initially. So I'm just trimming that up. See, and they just have all different little designs on them because I had stamped and pre-worked, you know, the envelope for the storage journal. You could leave the inside plain, and whoever or yourself, you could just journal this. I happen to have a nice line stamp, so I put lines on my other one. Let's see, I don't know if this is, yeah, that shows up pretty good. If you don't have one of these stamps, you could use a ruler, you could use a pen, a pencil, you could use the end of a credit card. I've done that before. You know, if you have a credit card that you use for your art, and I don't mean to buy things, I mean to scrape paint. You know, you could take a credit card, put some ink on the bottom of it, and make little lines. It's very rustic. could use the edge of a ruler, but you may not have, a line stamp. But if you want to, have some kind of lines on there, it's another way you can do it without, saying, I can remember my neighbor saying to me, well, that's all well and good, but you have so much stuff, which is true. I do. But there are a lot of other ways to do similar things without having a lot of stuff. Sometimes you have to think outside the box. And so then all I did was decorate it up and just use whatever I want. You can make like a collage. You can just start building and layering things. You can use fabric, leftover buttons, pieces of ribbon. You know how we store and save everything. Now these two pieces of envelope bottoms that I have here are really quite decorated and quite stamped. My sample wasn't so much, so I did a little extra stamping. But I also like to ink my edges, so I'm going to do that. And I've got to remember to keep putting my lid on my little needle nose glue dispenser because it clogs so quickly. Now, I like to use Vintage Photo, but you could use whatever. You may have a favorite color or a particular journal that you're working in that you'd like to have a bookmark or some top page embellishment. So just do your own thing. Do your own coloring, do your own subject matter. Do whatever you like. Some folks, I guess, don't like to ink edges. They like the brightness of the paper that they're using. Not everybody's taste is the same. The co-op that I was in was a very primitive, country, vintagey type of co-op, and I just loved everything in there. And I was working at the register one day, and a few customers came in, and I heard the one lady say, "Don't they have any normal stuff in here? I don't like all this old stuff." So, whatever floats your boat, different strokes, right? So I know this inking and the vintage look is not for everybody, but it's something that I like. So now I've got a little stack of tea bags here. I think I'm going to use a little bit of tea bag here. Let's see, maybe I'll stamp a little something on here. Some additional stamps here. I think I'm going to use this little flower, just with a little bit of this. Now I've got my hot glue gun plugged in. So I'm just gonna see if I can, yeah, that looks cute. Just put a couple of these on here. Just gonna stamp that. I kind of like that dark edge. This might be a little too big for what I want eventually, to use. That dark edge, maybe I'll take that off and use that over here. That might look cute over there. So now I've got two little flowers, and I'm going to grab a little bit of, I always have a bunch of stuff by my work area. I've got rope baskets sitting here with bits and bobs. I'm going to put a little piece of cheesecloth down and my little flowers. I'm going to add a little glue. So if you've been working on a project and you've got things sitting on your desk and you don't really want to throw them out, this is a great way to use up some of that kind of stuff. I think I need a little piece of fabric, maybe. Let's see. It's kind of bright, isn't it? Got a little piece of 10 up. See, you don't always need much. If you're using fabric, though, and you have some Fabri-Tac available, I really like using that. Oh, this is a nice piece of fabric. Let's see. It's bright without being too crazy. And if I can, I like to tear my fabric. Not all fabric will tear in all directions. So let's see here. Let's see if I can tuck that under. I like to remember, and I often have to remind myself when I look at other artisans' work, I try to pay attention to what it is I really like about it. And I've come to the conclusion that a lot of times it's because they stack and they overlap. They don't just glue things down, in a row, boom, boom, boom. They stack and they overlap stuff. And if you can't see a part of something, that's okay. You say, well, why put it under there? Well, because it just starts to build and makes it look like something. Now I've got this little bee. I'm going to ink him. Now don't forget you have two sides. This is going to go over the top of a page. So one thing that you have to be cautious of, especially if your bottom of your envelope is not that decorated and you need to add some stamping, remember that if you're stamping, you don't want to stamp everything to be read this way. You have to flip this over and stamp this way. Otherwise, your words will be upside down. See, like this, which may or may not bother you. Now let's put a little something on the other side. So we've got the rest of this little bit of tea bag. Now I don't necessarily need it all to be the same on both sides. You might want to use something that kind of connects one side to the next. Or maybe you're going to use something that connects with the journal you want to put it in. And these are just, knockoff. These aren't antiques or vintage pieces of paper. These are just printed pieces of paper to be used for ephemera. Sometimes I like to tear some of the edges. And when you get this little stuff, sometimes it's hard to tear. This one I'm thinking I might like to wrap it around, or at least seem like I'm going to wrap it around. Because on the inside, someone may want to write. But it could look cute in there as well, if you just wrap it like that. They could write right over top of it. Now, as I was originally working on this idea, I thought, well, now how am I going to get it to stick on the book page? I mean, it would just stick on there, but it's not weighted. It's going to flop open. I thought I could put a paper clip down over the top. That would certainly work. But I was trying to come up with a different idea, and I thought of a magnet. Now, you know how it goes. Sometimes you donate things because you haven't used it in forever, And we all have said this 100 times probably. As soon as you get rid of it, that's when you're going to want it. Well, I had a big roll of magnetic, a big magnetic sheet, like you would, like I made these out of it. These are little magnets. See, and it's real thin, and there's really not much to it. You can probably buy that in different thicknesses. I bought it to paint on it and wrap it around a mailbox for my son-in-law. And I never used the rest of it. Well, it's been sitting here for a couple of years, so I finally just put it in the bag to go to Goodwill. And then I thought, oh, I could have used that. Well, I'm not sure how it would have worked out. My husband's not sure. He thinks it may still be in the garage. But I didn't go look. So I'm just adding some stuff on here to see what I like. Let's see what else I have in this little trim. Do I have any more trim? Got a little piece of I did have a little flower laying somewhere. Need something with a little color, I think, here. This is a light blue. Maybe I'll put that on. And then I think maybe a button might look cute on this side. Oh, wrong glue. I don't have too much success with, say, like the golden matte medium or the white glue on fabric. I really like the Fabri-Tac, especially when you're doing a video and you need to, have it work while you're on camera. So let's get a little button. So what I decided was maybe I needed just regular magnets. Now my son works for a company that makes magnets, and they have a lot of projects where they have I guess, runoffs, or they have too many, or for whatever reason they have some storage as far as not needing or having leftovers, magnets that you really could just throw away, but they don't. They just hold on to them. And his boss was very gracious to say I could have some of the throwaways. And so they went through their stash and they found me some smaller magnets. Now these are really strong magnets. Got a little bit of something on that. Yeah, that little gray one might work good there. And I like to put some fiber in my buttons. So I've got a little bit of twine here. So what I've done was I've hot glued in this one, I hot glued down into the little point 2 magnets that are hot glued in there. So this will clip on my page. Now you can buy them online. You just want something that's really thin. I used to buy magnets from a company called something gray. Oh my gosh. Now I can't think of it. It's been a long time. I'll have to see if I can find that and then put it in my description box. Put that back so it's out of the way. Let's see if I can. I'm gonna pull this twine apart a little bit. It's kind of thick. for that little button. All right. I don't always leave the ends sticking out. Just depends. Sometimes it's easier to just take a big piece and put it on a needle. But this twine, it's usually not too bad to try to just pop it through the holes of your buttons. And then I'm going to put this on with hot glue. And then I'm going to show you what I do with the magnet. So you really could line these up if you had a bunch of them like I do. You know, trim them all down, get them the way that you want, line them up, stamp them all, make a whole bunch of them at one time. So I'm going to put a little bit of hot glue there. And of course, it depends on how thick you might want something to be over top of your journal page. So that's just not, it's not a lot, but it's just a little bit, right? So then I'm going to grab myself 2 magnets. And what I was wanting to try, but I have to have my husband look to see if we've got them. If he did keep that little magnet. It's not paper, it's just like a sheet of magnet. It's like magnet tape, but it's a sheet of it. It's not like a little tape. You want to make sure that your magnets are facing the right way if you're going to use magnets. So I'm just going to tuck this one in. And then I was wondering, you know, if you put something like, say, another button in here to create some weight, like it wouldn't clip together, but the weight of it might keep it hanging on your page. I haven't tried that, but that might be something that would work. See, now I want to make sure I get this magnet the right way. So it's got to go in this pocket this way. I believe, yeah. And I'm just going to pop a little more hot glue in the back of this one. There we have it. So, let me grab my journal just to show you how it looks. Let's cap this up. So now I have 2 of them. Whoops. Got to keep them separated. So I have this one on this page. I like to have that move it down a little bit. I think it looks cute. Nothing like admiring your own work. Let's find another page. This one might look cute on this page. Let's see. I'm definitely going to try that thinner magnet stuff if I can, if we still have it. But that's it. So there's an idea for using the very bottoms of your envelopes. And you got 2 pages decorated. When you're making a envelope pocket journal, keep those trimmings. I'm sure there's other ideas you can come up with to use them if you're inclined, like I am, not to throw them out. So that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you haven't subscribed, I would encourage you to do so. I'd certainly like to have you as one of my subbies. And that's it for now. So I will see you next time, either on a live or on a video. Don't forget, take time to be creative and enjoy the journey. Until next time, bye-bye.